Hi, welcome to this 30-minute yoga practice. I'm Andrea. So glad you're here. I'm standing on a yoga mat. If you don't have a yoga mat, it's fine. Just find a place that's not too slippery, maybe a carpeted floor. I often suggest that we use a chair. Today, I'm going to actually say we're using a chair. I've got mine at the ready. You can position it at the front of your space like mine is. Something to pad your knees, a folded blanket, or maybe a big beach towel, and then a couple of blocks or whatever you're using for blocks. So maybe some thick books. And then we'll get started once you have those things in place. Standing with your feet hip distance apart in the bedrock pose we often start in, Tadasana mountain pose. And it's here where we land. We land and we stand as evenly in both feet as possible. So start with that little subtle recognition of what balance is. A little bit of movement, isn't there? Even in the stillness. Forward and back and side to side. Have a soft bit of bend in your knees so we don't feel locked out or stiff. A little bit more fluid. See if you can bring hips over heels. So neither arching a lot in the low back or tucking, just letting your pelvis float in its natural position above your heels. Turn your palms away from each other. Let that shoulder opening be evident. Lift your heart, lean back a little bit. Find ears over shoulders, over hips over heels, as you gaze out at the horizon, what I like to call the bright horizon, and you breathe. Try to let your breath just be through your nose, and the idea is that that will be true until the end of the practice, if doable. Something to work towards. Rich, deep inhales. Complete grounding exhales. We're going to work into our shoulders a bit today. That's going to be the emphasis of our practice. So we'll start interlacing your hands behind your back. If that's really tight already, take a kitchen towel or something in between your hands and give yourself a little bit more space to play with. And play is the key word. Now take your interlace over to your right hip and just see if you can set it almost like you're holding your bag of groceries on your hip. Keep that soft bend in your knees and continue to breathe. Just playfully bring your elbows closer to one another. They may not go very far. You'll get feedback right away. It might be that it feels sort of nice to gently let your right side of your head lean a little bit towards the interlace. Nothing crazy, just curious. And then let's breathe into elbows moving towards each other, low belly lifting, so we're not letting this become a low back bend. We're curious into our shoulders. Any stickiness that you find, you just consider it the sweet spot, and you stay there to untangle, not force, just gently untangle. Take your head back upright if you were leaning. Extend your interlace to the ground and then switch it out so your other pinky finger's on the bottom. If you're holding your kitchen towel, you won't have to worry about that part. And now take your interlace over to your left hip. You've changed where your groceries are sitting. And begin to bring the elbows towards one another like little magnets. Again, it's curiosity. One side might be stickier than the other. Find your breath first, the softness in your legs, the uplift of your low belly. If it's an addition that feels good to you, left ear slightly towards left shoulder, but nothing radical. Exploratory, curious, and breathing. 3 more moments, just like this. Now, if you did do the head lean, just bring your head up. Let your interlace come towards the ground. Keep that little bit of bend in your knees and release your palms to face out. Inhale, V shape of your arms overhead. And exhale, float those arms back down. Twice more like that. Inhale, arms out and up, just a V shape. Thumbs stay to the sky. Exhale, float your arms along your side. Last one like that. Inhale, arms out to the side, a V shape. And then exhale the arms along your side. Turn and face the base of your chair. So it'd be good if you have a mat to operate within that first little foot of your mat space. First, we're not going to use the chair, and then we're going to start to add using our chair. Inhale, arms out to the side, a V shape overhead, thumbs to the sky. Exhale, hinge at your hips. Bring your hands to the tops of your thighs so that when you inhale here, you get a little bit longer out the top of your head and you feel some traction with your hands gently pressing into the tops of the thighs. Exhale, just a little bit more, hinge at your hips. And then inhale, arms out to the side, become standing upright, V shape overhead. And then float the arms along your side, palms face out. Once more like that. Inhale, arms out to the side, a V shape overhead. Exhale, hinge at your hips. Take your hands to the tops of your thighs. Inhale, lengthen your spine, get a little bit taller. Exhale, a bit more hinge into the hip. And then inhale, stand, arms out to the side, thumbs to the sky, V shape. Float the arms along your side. Adding on and using our chair now. Inhale, arms out to the side, thumbs to the sky, a V shape. Exhale, hip hinge, hands to your thighs. Now stay here as you inhale your heart forward and place your hands on the base of your chair. Step back carefully and slowly, just to a place where you start to feel more stretch in the backs of your legs, but you're still keeping the length through your spine, and we never have our head lower than our hips. That's our story, and we're sticking to it. Now you can press into your hands and note that the farther you step back, and I don't mean that you need to go very far with that, the more weight goes into your hands. We're prepping ourselves for maybe doing a full down dog at some point down the line. But right now, it's just a really juicy stretch in the back body and a little bit more oomph into our arms and into our shoulders. So there's no collapse in the shoulders. That's really important. You're pressing down. Your shoulder blades are on your back. So you can feel the mechanics at work. There's even muscles that are in your ribs that are helping to stabilize what we're doing here. Now start to step forward, hip distance. Bring your hands back onto your thighs. Inhale, heart forward, and exhale, deepen the crease in your hip. And then inhale, arms out to the side, a V shape overhead, and arms along your side. Great. Inhale, arms out to the side, thumbs to the sky, a V shape. Hinge at your hips and take your hands to the tops of your thighs. Inhale your heart forward and place your hands on the base of your chair. Step it back. So we're moving just slightly faster, but you're mindful in your movement. And then play with it, press into your hands, make sure there's nothing collapsing, including your low belly. So the low belly lifts. And then walk it forward, hip distance. Take your hands to your thighs. Inhale your heart forward. Exhale, increase the fold at the hips. And then inhale, arms out to the side, a V shape overhead. Float the arms along your sides. One more time like that. Inhale, arms out and up, V shape, thumbs stay skyward. Exhale, hinge at your hips, hands to the tops of the thighs. Inhale, lengthen to your spine and place your hands on the base of your chair, and then step it back into what we're calling down dog. It's really called puppy dog by many. So you can feel adorable as a puppy dog and work a little bit more oomph into your arms and legs. Keep the shoulder girdle steady and the low belly lifting. 2 more moments. And then wander forward, feet hip distance, hands to thighs. Inhale your heart forward. Exhale, fold it just a little bit more at the hips, and then arms out to the side, V shape overhead. Float your arms along your side. We're going somewhere different, but we'll start the same. Inhale, arms out to the side, V shape. Exhale, hinge at your hips, hands to your thighs. Great job. Inhale, heart forward. Take your hands onto the base of your chair, which you're a pro at now, and step your feet carefully back into our puppy dog. Keep the integrity in your shoulders, so make sure you still have that going on. 2 more moments here. Now step hip distance at the front edge of your mat and bring your hands to your thighs. Find your 2 blocks or keep using the base of your chair. So I'm going to situate my 2 blocks next to me and then bring my hands back onto the tops of the thighs. Or you're going to take your hands onto the top of your chair. Up to you. Step your left foot carefully back. Pause here. Hands stay pressing like they did in our puppy dog, or they can come down onto your blocks here. Take a couple moments. Feel the integrity of our plank position kind of feel with your hands on the blocks, or our puppy dog position with your hands on the base of your chair. So we're not ignoring our arms and collapsing. Right hip draws back, left hip draws forward. 2 more moments, just like this. Long, strong torso. Hands come to blocks or base of chair. Low belly lifts. Step your left foot hip distance from your right foot. Hands to your thighs. Inhale your heart forward. Return your hands to the base of your chair, or take your hands onto those tall blocks. And now step the right foot back. And we're in a lunge position, but we're aware that it's not just our legs working, that our shoulders are also shoulder blades on the back, no collapse. In your foundation, your left hip is drawing back and your right hip is drawing forward. Stay for just a couple more moments. Using your hands strongly on your blocks or on the base of your chair. Make sure you lift through the low belly to protect this exit. Right foot hip distance from left foot. Hands to your thighs, inhale. We're heading to the floor, so you can continue to use the base of your chair or use those blocks, and then bring yourself onto your knees. Ultimately, hands and knees. And you might want to find that beach towel or blanket for your hands and knees. So if that feels a little tender on your knees, I don't want there to be tenderness. I'm going to move my chair so that I know that you can see me. I'm sorry if it makes a sound. And then position your shoulders over your wrists. That's really important. So it's not that they're too close to you. That's too much on your wrist. And too far out in front of you is not going to work in your shoulder. So you want to get a little bit nerdy about the precision of shoulders under wrists, and then spread your hands wide and use your hands in the ground as stabilizers for your shoulders. You can feel just like the tiniest little buffer of bend in your elbow. So all of the muscles of your arms are igniting. Curl your toes under here on your hands and knees and lift your low belly. Keep those shoulders over wrists. Just step your left foot back as if you were flirting with a plank position, because you are actually. Now stay with it. Make sure that you're breathing, and you're going to feel some of the oomph in your arms that we felt in our puppy dog, but it's a little bit stronger. And if you ever need to leave this early and take a break and then climb back in. Place your blanket, or if you're comfortable, and check to make sure the alignment of shoulders over wrists is still in place. Step your right foot back, flirting with your plank on the second side. Keep the alignment in your shoulders, but also an uplift of the low belly. You've got your right heel extending back, and we're pausing and breathing. 3 more moments here. You're going to feel that there's some strength in your shoulders and arms. Called to action. Great work. Now bring your right knee onto your mat and just lean back towards a child's pose and do some circles with your wrists. It's a long time on your wrists. It's what's called extension at the wrist. So sometimes if you do the opposite, flexion, bringing your fingers towards your wrist, that can feel like a nice release. And again, you get to take breaks anytime you want to. Back to hands and knees, playfully, one more time with our plank flirt. So shoulders are over wrists, you're using the muscles of your hands. Step your left foot back. Find that lift of the low belly, strengthen your arms. Most of us are going to stick with this. A couple of you might think about adding your right leg and coming into your plank position just for a moment. 2 moments here with either just the left leg stepping back or both legs stepping back, and then bring your knees onto your mat. And if you feel like you want to have a little bit of a wrist thing, do it before we do our second side. Shoulders are over wrists. Use your hands. Imagine that your hands are in clay and you want to make a full imprint of both of your hands in the clay. It's important for the health of your wrists. Now, with shoulders over wrists, right leg steps back, lift your low belly. Let this be enough if it needs to be today. It's fine. Only if it makes sense in your body might you decide to step your left foot as well. And we're in a plank, low belly lifting. I would prefer that your hips be slightly too high than collapsing too low. So mine are a little bit too high, but that's preferred. It's a little healthier for your back. Then bring both knees onto your mat, lean it back, and have that little release, 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 release. Folded blankets are encouraged as we come to seated. I like to fold mine actually so it's quite a bit of a tall perch. Because if your hips are tight like mine are, you're actually going to access the muscles in the hip rotators more readily if you're up a little bit higher and you're not combating this like knees really high to the sky. Let's cross our right shin in front first so that we're all on the same page. And instead of crossing just at the ankles, walk your feet so that it's ankles underneath your knees. And then sit tall as if you were back in our mountain pose at the very beginning of all this. And in fact, we're going to do something right now that we did in our mountain pose. Take that interlace that we did. Now with your interlace, begin to bend your elbows and take it to the right hip. Remember, we did this standing. And then just see if you can convince your elbows towards each other. Maybe things are a little bit warmer. We did a lot of pretty intense stuff in our shoulders. So you might have a little muscle warmth that gets the elbows interested in one another a little bit more this time. Perhaps you start to lean your right ear towards your right shoulder a little bit, but just where it feels good. And you can play a little bit with like the chin down, just a smidge, the chin up. Lots of muscles along the side of your neck that you're opening up. And actually, those muscles help us breathe. You may not think of muscles in your neck as players in your breath, but they are. Last couple moments. Now just let your head come upright. Your interlace goes towards the ground, and then just take note of which of your pinky fingers is on the bottom and switch that out. You could be using your kitchen towel if that's what you did earlier. Take your interlace over to your left hip. Magnetize the elbows towards each other just as much as they'll go. And then remind yourself to sit tall. So it's not a collapse like in front of our computers can be sometimes. When and if you're ready, left ear gently towards that left shoulder. Couple moments. If you want to turn your chin a little bit, you can. Maybe down a little bit and up a little bit, but it's really, really small. Nothing radical here. And then let your head come to neutral. Release your interlace. Come off your perch, but have it nearby because we're coming back. Once you're off your perch, feet hip distance on your mat and hands behind you, fingers facing you. Just give this a shot. If it doesn't feel right in your body, you're welcome to skip it. So lift your heart and you're going to feel that your shoulders are involved again, but with a different equation. Begin to carefully lift your hips up. They don't have to go very far, and you're going to feel that it's weight bearing on your shoulders. Your chin is as if there is a tangerine underneath your chin. And if it's bothering your neck, just lower down to a place where it doesn't bother your neck. You can lift until your hips are as high as your knees, but most of us are going to not go quite that high. 2 more moments here. Table pose, so you can decide whether or not you feel like you're an effective table. I'm a sort of sunken table. I don't think I'd want to use me for much. And then gently release your hips down onto the ground. Find your perch once again. Once you have your perch, this time we'll take the left shin in front. Remember, we did the opposite, and it's not a cross at the ankles. It's a cross with your knees under, or your ankles underneath your knees. And you're going to feel the hips open up a little bit, which is actually a nice thing. Take your right arm out to the side, thumb to the sky, and then pat yourself on the back, which you deserve. Left arm out to the side. Now just help it along ever so gently. So you're just holding on and letting patting yourself on the back have an assist a little bit. And I bet you feel some of the things that we did on this shoulder and in the back of the arm and the triceps. Take your left arm out to the side, thumb faces down, and then back of your hand to your lower back. See if you can smile your collarbones on that left side a little bit. Look out towards the bright horizon so you don't let your chin collapse. You're actually leaning into the hand that's patting you on the back of it. Stay for 2 more moments here. So good. Now just gently release both of your arms into your lap. Let your palms face the sky. Feel all the feels and come back to your breath. Left arm out to the side, thumb to the sky. Bend the left elbow and pat yourself on the back with this side. Gently take your right arm out to the side and then assist a little bit. So that tricep, that back of your left arm is where your assist is helping you to feel it. It doesn't feel like you're scrunching shoulders into ears, and that's important. Think of using really kind words through the touch of your right hand onto your left arm. Just 2 moments here. Then take that right arm out to the side, thumb faces down, back of your hand to the small of your back or to the sacrum, that's the bony place at the base of your spine. And then be in it. Smile the right collarbone. That can be a sticky spot. Look out at your bright horizon. You could even close your eyes and still see that bright horizon. Last few moments here. And then gently release your hands into your lap. Feel all the feels. A couple of moments. Both hands come behind your back in a prayer, but probably the prayer is going to be your fists pressing together or holding opposite elbows. So you'll just work. I'll turn my back just so that you can see me. Either a prayer behind your back, fist pressing, or holding elbows. We're still left shin in front in our seated hip opener. So don't feel that you're supposed to be doing a prayer behind your back. You do you. Advanced yoga is our ability to meet ourselves where we are and celebrate what's happening instead of berate ourselves for something that we think we're supposed to be or do. Both sets of collarbones smile. Maybe they influence the corners of your mouth. Pretty corny, I know. Find your bright horizon. Maybe you do that closing your eyes. And then let your breath deepen here. We're going to stay a full minute. So if you've been a little too ambitious and there's too much sensation, back it off so that we can enjoy a full minute of me being silent and you taking a meditation here with a very open heart and a release to your shoulders. All right, 1 minute, starting now. $15 more seconds. You're doing great. Really great. Super. Now just start to release your palms up in your lap, but stay in that feel of being in your meditation. You could keep your eyes closed if you wanted to. Now, I'm going to offer you the option of staying just like this in a seated meditation all the way to the end of our practice. If you're someone who appreciates lying on your back in the Shavasana final meditation that we do, stay in the mindset of meditation. Come off of your perch. Move things off to the side so they're not in the way. Lying on your back, step your feet as wide as your mat. And then just let your knees fall in on each other, a bit like the table pose we did. Lift your hips just an inch off your mat so you create some space in the low back. Gently bring your hips back down onto the earth. Feel your shoulder blades against the ground and give a little shimmy side to side so shoulder blades on the back feels comforting, something that we did in a pretty dynamic way in our practice today. And then either stay here or extend one leg straight and the other leg straight. Shavasana, final meditation, or seated meditation. 1 full minute of silence from me. You can close or cover your eyes. Let yourself let go. I encourage you to stay here in your final meditation or final Shavasana meditation as long as you would like. If you're ready to start finding your way back from Shavasana, move fingers and toes, bend your knees and place your feet on your mat if they're not there. If you're in seated meditation, just stay where you are, we're coming. Drop your knees to the side. Use the strength of your arms to come up and to join our seated meditators. palms up or down. Just take a moment to feel how different you feel after a practice than you do before. And honor yourself for carving out the time to do this. Others who encounter you will also be glad that you did. I'm Andrea. Thank you so much for practicing with me. I look forward to us doing it again soon.